the latest in regards to those evacuations from Mariupol, Nadia?
Our best understanding, Annette, is that the convoy going into Mariupol today has yet to reach those civilians who remain trapped under the steelworks there. As you said, some 100 people pulled out yesterday. About 900 of those remain trapped there. As many of them as possible will, of course, be hoping to get out today. But for the United Nations and the Red Cross that is coordinating this evacuation, it is obviously an extremely delicate process. They're coordinating with those Ukrainian fighters also trapped underground, but also with the Russian forces that have been bombarding the city extremely intensely for several weeks now. Now, important to point out that this evacuation today, whether it is successful or not, will only be able to bring out Ukrainian civilians. There's no talk so far that members of the Ukrainian armed forces who are holed up at that steelwork site will be able to get out today. No such deal for them has been reached at all. There is, though, the possibility today that some Ukrainian civilians elsewhere in Mariupol, not just at that steelwork site, that network of underground bunkers where the fighting has been concentrated, will be able to get out. We have been hearing that 2 other evacuation points have been set up, and that if civilians elsewhere in Mariupol are able to get themselves to those points, they will eventually be brought out with this humanitarian convoy. None of this, though, is confirmed at this point. There have been several attempted evacuations like this in the past. We've seen Russian forces bombard the road that those humanitarian convoys were supposed to travel on. So it may be very difficult for civilians to reach that point. But indeed, of course, everybody's hoping that as many civilians as possible can get out this afternoon.
Nadia, seeing that busy road behind you, just how is the situation where you are in Kyiv?
Now, I'm in Maidan Square and at the very heart of the Ukrainian capital here. As you can see, cars driving past. There are people here wearing Ukrainian flags around their necks, taking selfies. So a sort of relatively relaxed atmosphere here, but scratch beneath the surface, and it's clear that the war doesn't feel far away. For one thing, obviously, there are these roadblocks that you might be able to see behind me here in Maidan, but on the main road into the capital, as we were coming in yesterday from the west, it was littered with evidence of the battles that had been fought here. Bridges that had been destroyed in fighting, huge mortar craters in the road itself, even a Russian tank burnt out lying on the side of the road. Also here, there's very little petrol, there's very little diesel. Much of that fuel is being reserved and prioritized for the Ukrainian fighters fighting on those front lines in the east. And that means here in the city, there are very long queues for people who want to get petrol. It's limited to 10 litres per person. So while it may seem like there's a breath of fresh air in the city for the moment, obviously those Russian forces have withdrawn from now. Certainly life is not back to normal. Worth remembering as well that it was only 4 days ago that 2 Russian strikes hit the very centre of Kyiv, left 1 person dead and several others injured as well, Annette.
Nadia Massih reporting there from Kyiv. Thank you.